Let me tell you something. When a woman of God fights alone, it is not because she is weak, but because she has been chosen. Some of you listening today feel abandoned. You have cried, prayed, and wondered why nobody understands your journey. But let me make this clear. Your solitude is not punishment. It is preparation. When God wants to elevate a woman, He separates her. He removes distractions, closes doors, and isolates her so that she can hear only His voice. Because the battle you are fighting is not against people, it is against limitations, against fear, against everything that has tried to stop the power of God from manifesting in your life. If you have been left alone, it is because God has trusted you to stand. The greatest victories are won in silence. The strongest warriors are shaped in isolation. When you feel alone, that is when you must pray the hardest, believe the most, and walk forward with unshakable faith. You see, a woman who fights alone has no one to lean on except God, and that is where true power is found. He is refining you, purging you, and preparing you for something greater. Do not mistake loneliness for weakness. You are not weak. You are dangerous to the enemy. The world celebrates those who are surrounded by crowds, but heaven celebrates those who can stand with none. And today I am speaking to every woman who has been fighting in secret. Your strength is not unnoticed. God sees you, and your victory is coming. Stay in the fight, stay in prayer, stay in faith, because when the battle is over, you will not just survive, you will rise. A woman of God is never truly alone, though the world may make her feel that way. She walks through seasons where no one seems to understand her battles, where support is scarce, and where even those she once trusted may turn away. But in that solitude, something divine is happening. God is drawing her closer. You see, people may walk out, but God never does. When human hands let go, divine hands take over. The woman who seems to be fighting alone is actually standing with heaven's army behind her. Every tear she sheds in silence is seen by God. Every prayer she whispers in the dark is heard in the throne room of heaven. Every struggle she endures is not unnoticed, but rather recorded as evidence of her faith. Many women crumble when they feel isolated, but the woman of God rises. She understands that being alone does not mean being abandoned. It means being set apart. It means being positioned for something greater. The absence of human support forces her to depend entirely on God, and in doing so, she unlocks a strength that no one can take from her. Her confidence does not come from those who stand beside her, but from the one who walks within her. And that is why she cannot be broken. Others may leave, but God remains. She may stand without earthly help, but she is never truly alone. Heaven is her company. The Holy Spirit is her guide. And the victory that awaits her is already assured. Isolation is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of preparation. A woman of God who finds herself standing alone is not being punished. She is being trained. Every great warrior must go through a season of solitude where she learns to rely on nothing but her faith, her prayers, and her unwavering trust in God. Think about it. Before a battle, soldiers do not train in public. They go into seclusion, away from the noise, away from the distractions, and away from the opinions of others. Why? Because the greatest strength is developed in private. And so it is with a woman of faith. When God is preparing her for something greater, He removes unnecessary voices from her life. He takes her into a season where she must learn to stand firm, to pray deeply, and to believe without needing validation from others. This is not an easy process. She will feel the weight of loneliness. She will question why certain people left, and she will wonder why the fight seems so hard. But if she can endure, if she can push through the silence, she will emerge stronger than ever. Because solitude teaches resilience, it teaches endurance, and most of all, it teaches a woman to hear God's voice louder than anything else. Her training ground is not the applause of the crowd. It is the secret place where she meets God. And when she comes out of that season, she will not just survive, she will be unstoppable. God does not give his heaviest battles to the weakest soldiers. He handpicks his strongest warriors for the hardest fights. If you find yourself standing alone in battle, it is not because you are forgotten, it is because you are trusted. God sees something in you that others do not. He knows that the strength within you is greater than the challenge before you. A woman of God who fights alone is not ordinary. She is chosen. She carries a divine assignment that others may not understand. That is why her journey is different. That is why her struggles are intense. And that is why she cannot afford to quit. The weight of her calling requires endurance, and endurance is built through hardship. Many people want the victory, but they do not want the process. They want the glory, but not the refining. But God does not elevate the unprepared. He strengthens those who are willing to fight through the loneliness, through the rejection, through the unseen battles that others will never know about. If you are in a season where you feel like you are fighting alone, do not be discouraged. It is proof that God has placed something powerful inside of you. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared for something that requires divine strength. And when the time is right, you will see why the battle was necessary. Because the victory ahead is greater than you can imagine. The world often misunderstands a woman of purpose. She does not fit into the mold that society expects. She does not follow the crowd, seek approval, or live for the applause of others. Because of this, she is often ridiculed, rejected, or even ignored. But what people fail to realize is that her path is not meant to be understood by everyone. It is meant to be walked with obedience and unwavering faith. When a woman of God carries a divine assignment, she will encounter opposition. Even those closest to her may not understand the depth of her calling. They may doubt her, question her, or even discourage her from moving forward. But she does not stop. She does not shrink back. She does not allow the opinions of others to define her destiny, because she knows that she is not walking according to man's expectations. Look at history. Every woman who did something great for God had to stand against resistance. Esther had to risk her life before the king. Deborah had to lead when others were afraid. Mary had to carry a promise that no one else believed in. Their greatness was not in their popularity, it was in their obedience. So if you are facing rejection, if people are questioning your vision, if you feel like you are walking this path alone, take heart. You are not walking the wrong path. You are walking the path of purpose. The world may misunderstand you now, but in time they will see what God was doing all along. Keep moving, keep trusting, and most of all, keep fighting, because your assignment is bigger than their approval. A woman who stands alone walks closely with God. When people leave, God speaks. When support fades, his presence increases. The moments that feel like abandonment are often the moments when God is drawing her into deeper intimacy with him. She may lose the comfort of human companionship, but she gains something far greater: the voice, the guidance, and the strength of God himself. Think about it. When did Moses hear God's voice? When he was alone at the burning bush. When did Elijah receive divine instruction? When he was alone in the cave. When did Jesus pray with the deepest connection to the Father? When he was alone in the wilderness. Separation always precedes revelation. God does not shout over the noise of the crowd. He whispers in the solitude of those who are willing to listen. A woman of God must understand this. Loneliness is not always a curse. Sometimes it is an invitation to step away from distractions and into divine direction, an invitation to silence the voices of the world so she can hear the voice of heaven, an invitation to stop relying on people and start walking in supernatural faith. If you feel like you are standing alone, do not see it as a loss, see it as a gift, because in this place you are not just standing, you are being drawn into a deeper walk with the one who has called you, prepared you, and is leading you to something greater. When people leave, let them go, because their absence is making room for God's presence to take full control. The strength of a woman of God is not measured by how many people stand with her, but by how unshakable she remains when she stands alone. True faith is not proven in comfort, it is proven in crisis. When everything around her is stripped away, when the support she once relied on disappears, when she is left with nothing but her faith, that is when her real strength is revealed. This is why God allows certain seasons of isolation. It is not to break her, but to build her, to separate her from distractions, to refine her character, to teach her that her confidence must come from Him alone. Many people claim to have faith, but few are willing to stand in the fire to prove it. A woman of God who fights alone is one of the few. She does not quit when things get tough. She does not bow to fear. She does not run when the battle gets intense. Instead, she digs deeper, prays harder, and stands firmer because she knows that her strength does not come from people, it comes from God. When you see a woman of God who fights alone, do not pity her. Do not assume she is weak. She is not abandoned. She is anointed. She is not losing. She is being positioned for victory. And when the battle is over, when the storm passes, she will emerge not just as a survivor, but as a conqueror, stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. A woman of God who fights alone is not just enduring a battle, she is being transformed by it. Her solitude is not a punishment, it is a process that strips away every dependency that is not rooted in God, a process that removes the crutches she once leaned on, forcing her to stand firm in her faith, a process that turns her from a woman who hopes into a woman who knows, from a woman who believes into a woman who walks in unshakable confidence. This kind of woman does not emerge from comfort. She is shaped in the fire. She is molded in the struggle. She is refined in the seasons where she has no one else to turn to but God, and that is exactly why she becomes unstoppable. Because when a woman learns to fight alone with God, she becomes a warrior who needs no audience, no validation, and no approval to keep moving forward. But let's be clear. This process is painful. It is not easy to stand alone when others are surrounded by support. It is not easy to pray for breakthroughs when the answers seem delayed. It is not easy to keep believing when nothing around her looks like victory. She will have moments of doubt, moments of exhaustion, moments where she wonders if she is really strong enough to endure. But those are the very moments that define her, because instead of breaking, she bends. Instead of quitting, she presses forward. Instead of surrendering to weakness, she digs deeper into her strength. And here's the secret. The longer she fights alone, the stronger she becomes. The more she endures, the more resilient she grows. The more she depends on God, the more unstoppable she becomes. Because unlike those who draw their strength from temporary things, relationships, status, human approval, she draws her strength from the eternal source. People may wonder how she keeps going. They may ask how she remains so unshaken, so fearless, so determined. But what they do not realize is that she has already fought battles they will never know about. She has already cried prayers in the night that no one else heard. She has already survived seasons that were meant to break her, and yet here she stands, stronger than ever. A woman of God who fights alone is not ordinary. She is a force, a warrior, a testimony of what it means to trust God in the deepest, darkest moments. She does not wait for rescue. She knows her Redeemer is with her. She does not fear the unknown. She knows who holds her future. She does not crumble under pressure. She rises because she understands that her battle is not just for her own victory, but for the generations that will follow her. So if you are that woman, if you are in a season where you feel like you are standing alone, let this be your confirmation. You are not losing, you are being prepared. You are not abandoned, you are being elevated. You are not weak, you are being made unbreakable. Keep fighting, keep pressing, keep standing, because the woman who fights alone today will be the woman who leads many tomorrow. And when your victory comes, and it will come, everyone who once questioned your strength will see that God was with you all along. A woman of God who fights alone does not just fight for herself, she fights for those who will come after her. She is a trailblazer, a barrier breaker, a foundation builder. Her struggles are not just about her own survival. They are about paving the way for others to walk in victory. She carries a divine assignment that is bigger than her emotions, bigger than her circumstances, and bigger than the pain she endures in private. When God calls a woman to stand alone, it is not because she is weak. It is because she is strong enough to handle the weight of destiny. Some battles can only be fought by those who are willing to carry them. Some victories can only be won by those who refuse to quit, even when they have every reason to give up. And some breakthroughs can only come through the ones who are willing to endure the process, no matter how long it takes. This woman understands that her fight is not just for herself. She is contending for her family, for her children, for future generations. She is breaking generational curses. She is shifting spiritual atmospheres. She is planting seeds of faith that will grow into a legacy of strength and righteousness. She knows that if she surrenders now, if she gives up because of temporary pain, then the next generation may never see the promise. That is why she refuses to quit. That is why she keeps going. Look at the women in the Bible who stood alone. Esther risked her life for a nation. Hannah prayed through barrenness until she birthed a prophet. Ruth left everything familiar to walk into an unknown future. These women did not fight for personal gain. They fought because they carried something greater than themselves. And that is the same spirit that moves within the woman of God who stands alone today. She may be weary, but she will not break. She may be tired, but she will not quit. She may cry in secret, but she will rise in public, because she knows that she is not just fighting for today, for she is fighting for the future. And when her victory comes, it will not be just hers alone. It will be an inheritance for everyone connected to her. So if you are that woman, know this. Your fight is not in vain. Your tears are not wasted. Your battles are not meaningless. God is using you to shift things in the spirit, to break barriers, and to prepare the way for those who will come after you. Do not stop. Do not give in, because one day you will look back and see that your battle was the key to unlocking someone else's victory. And when that day comes, you will understand that every struggle, every lonely night, and every unseen fight was worth it. A woman of God who fights alone is not truly alone. She is divinely backed by heaven. Though the world may overlook her, though friends may walk away, though she may feel isolated in her struggles, she is surrounded by a heavenly army that fights on her behalf. She is never outnumbered, never outmatched, never forsaken. The battle she fights is not just hers, it is God's. And He has never lost a war. This is why she does not crumble. This is why she does not surrender. Because she knows that even in her weakest moments, she is still victorious. She does not fight with mere human strength. She fights with divine power. She does not lean on the approval of people. She stands firm in the promises of God. She does not measure her success by temporary struggles. She walks with the confidence that her destiny is already secured in heaven. Many will look at her and wonder, how does she keep going? They will see her battles but not understand her strength. They will see her isolation but not recognize her divine protection. They will see her wounds but not realize that every scar tells the story of a fight she has already won. She is not just a survivor, she is a conqueror. Not just a warrior, she is a victor. Not just a fighter, she is an overcomer. And when the battle is over, when the dust settles, when the storms pass, she will rise, not broken but built, not empty but overflowing, not defeated but crowned in victory, because God never allows His daughters to fight alone without a reward. Every tear she cried will be turned into joy. Every pain she endured will be turned into strength. Every battle she faced will become a testimony of God's faithfulness. So to the woman who fights alone, hold your head high, stand firm, keep pressing forward, because your fight is not just for now, it is for eternity. And when your victory comes, the whole world will see that the God who stood with you in the fire was the same God who brought you out, refined, restored, and completely unstoppable.